Welcome the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
Come back yourself, right? But the problem is it takes forever, and then
This one right here. Hello. All right, there. Now they can hear us.
Whoa.
There's that.
Okay,
We
that's a
need
start.
Some light, I
There's
think.
hearing and seeing.
Okay.
Let's do a window capture.
All
Over
right.
here, let's put a chessboard on our chest.
Let's
screen.
put a chessboard. I like it. There. Look at that. And round one just started. For
Yeah.
for the top section, I think. Cool.
All right, and then here we can see it.
All right, there we go.
I'll have to fix the board because.
Oof. I like how we're wearing the same color shirts.
That's true. We're wearing the same color shirt that we both changed, and we're still wearing the same color.
Shirt. All right. Thank you for the follow, All Odie, Mitch and Cartier. Thank you both for the resubscription. And Silent Maxim Co. Thank you for the follow as well. Which one is titled out of you guys? Titled in chess or in something different? I have a title.
Sir Pooh Bear.
Sir Pooh Bear.
What?
Just like stretch it and
Oh,
eventually
yeah.
change the font
Yes.
size. I didn't know that. I always hit. Oh man, that changes everything.
Yeah. I think everybody figures out like different like things. So
Yeah.
if you actually are in a room with other people and see how they stream, you'd be like, oh, there's a shortcut, or
Yeah.
oh, you can do that.
Yeah. All right, we have to add your name on here though.
That's okay.
I don't think people know who you are. Can I add existing? I'm gonna add that one. It's okay. I know. We're at a blank screen.
I was like, whoa.
I know.
See, I'm learning something from you now. That's cool.
There you go. We just blocked that out. It's close enough. It's not exact,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
whatever.
Wow.
And
sweet.
then you go
You got that
here,
one fast.
and then
Chess.com seems glitched. Renek hasn't moved. But it's all. Oh, it's Renek and Chess Falcon, 2 people who aren't able to move in their games. Or Elephantologist?
oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't think it's you. Other people are able to move.
Well,
It's very weird.
I'm just apologizing that that's happening. Not that I did anything for it.
So those of you who can't move your chess pieces, I don't know, try closing and reopening your browsers or something.
Wait, no, I can do this. Oops.
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah.
Don't want it.
No.
No.
No. You have to double click it. Ursus can't play either. It's just ruined.
Alright. Yeah, they've been a little bit glitchy. I'm not going to judge, but like they took a lot of time to get here.
Right, 2 or 3 minutes to get the first move or two in, and Basil seems... Is everybody in, like... Even the people who are playing can hardly move their pieces?
It works now. I refreshed. Okay. Cool.
Storth, Matthew.
Daster, thank you for the gifted sub.
And a sad cat. Alright. Under 1200 about to start. Or under 1250 section about to start. So good luck to all of you. You guys have 1 minute till your own games kick off. Okay? Anybody in the under 1250? And for everybody who's glitched or whatever, sorry. I don't know what that's about.
See, he's over at my place. Are there any classical games that we plan on casting right now? No.
Oh look, Elephantologist was finally able to move.
There we
Renek,
go.
it's your turn. Look at this.
Oof, that's rough. The 2 other rounds, or at least the second section should have started. I think you have that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last section is starting in 7 seconds, so
Nice.
we're ready to go.
Ready to go.
Nuxaws, Tim Nice, Alyssa Hill.
Renek is timing down? What do you mean? To even time. Oh. Okay.
Equalizing it out.
That's very nice of you.
Oh, I see.
Scott is different in daylight. Yeah, I'm not wearing my headphones, so you guys don't normally
It's a big change.
see me with that.
Okay.
Can you guys hear us okay? Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Renek. Everyone else, if you guys, there's a huge time difference, make sure you even that out because of the clock. Or because of the glitch.
Okay, here we go. Michiko's move against Chess and Chai.
A little spaghetti. I don't know if that's the true and rated. It could be. I don't know. Why?
It's your move, Michiko. We're seeing it right here.
Yeah, Michiko, you have to refresh your page. Refresh your page.
How many people are frozen on move 1? Like almost everybody. Look at this. Like every single game is starting with somebody just frozen. Like a minute to play the first move. DM Stewart still trying to play their first move. What is up with chess.com?
Hey, Cartier, I don't think we need that enabled. Can you remove that? Thank you.
Let's see if Mr. Fur and Alyssa are able to play. Yeah, they've got their game started. Glee chess instead of Lee chess. So what's this opening? E4, D5 takes, and then the queen comes back. Yeah, Scandinavian.
I never understood the queen coming back. I know A5 is like...
The argument with the queen coming back is that like A5 is not even desirable. You're better off just being on your starting square.
Then why even play it?
But why even play queen takes D5 if you're just going to play queen D8? The argument would be it's that important to trade off white's pawn, but there's other ways to do it. I mean, I don't think the Scandinavian's particularly good.
Okay. Unless I fall to a trick, I generally think I win against the Scandinavian.
Mm-hmm.
There are tricks here if they put like their queen somewhere weird. But that's only...
If their queen wanders around.
Yeah. I hate a wandering queen.
Yeah.
They're so dangerous.
Yeah. I think the fact that queen D8 became like a line for black illustrates just how not well queen A5 and queen D6 were doing. But like some people just were insistent they were going to keep playing the Scandinavian no matter what, even if it made no sense.
Both are book moves. Yeah, now Bomb Cloud is a book move too, so. Grandmaster names.
Queen d2 from Fur. What I'd like to see him do is castle queenside.
How come?
Oh, look at that, Mr. Fur.
I'm actually kind of like I've noticed a lot of people tend to castle queenside with the Scandinavian.
Yeah, I think when you've got a little space advantage or a little development advantage, which white has both here, if you castle kingside, it can be like a real slog to use that tiny edge. If you castle queenside, it can kind of accentuate it so that that small advantage becomes worth more.
Okay.
Like, basically, you're up one tempo, or you've got like a little bit more maneuverability. So if you go to a position where, like, just things are sharper and more intense,
sure,
that's gonna have more of an impact on the game. All right, puzzle time, Scott. If white takes on c5, can black recapture?
If white takes on c5.
Black comes here, right, and these pawns are facing each other. If white takes, can black recapture that pawn? What's going on tactically here?
No.
No?
No.
That was fast. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Fur plopped the knight in the middle, but why?
Takes, bishop takes, bishop.
Wait, it doesn't let you do this?
Okay, so, yeah, takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, knight can't take.
Why not?
Because then you lose a rook.
With this?
Huh? Yeah. So there.
Yeah, that's fast.
Right?
Yeah, you're right, but I mean, I'm shocked that you saw that in 1 second. Bishop h7 check, king h7, and queen d8. Folks, don't be intimidated by the fact that Scott saw that in 1 second. That's not normal.
You lose the exchange. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is it okay with you if I log you out and log me in?
Yeah.
Do you know how to...
Yeah.
You know your password?
No, but we're good.
Some people are just like logged in on something on their computer, and if you log it out, they can never get back.
No, I'll get back in.
You
it's
get
fine.
back in.
I'll reset it. It's
Okay, because on mine, I can actually make moves, like on the board.
Can't-
Because right now that
can't
variation...
I?
No, look, when you do
But
this...
like, can you is there settings?
No.
You're just special.
I have some kind of admin privilege.
All right, go ahead. Do what you got to do.
Okay. Oops.
Thanks, Michiko.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think many people are going to be able to follow a variation that fast without moves being there. So.
Oh, look at you. You have different colors.
Okay, so that was in this section, I think, here. Let's open all these up.
I don't even know his game that well.
Okay, and I think it was the Mr. Fur game.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, folks, for anybody confused, here is the Scott variation. He's pointing out that this pawn, even though it's defended twice, black can't afford to get into all these trades because white has check at the end, opening up two pieces here. King takes or knight takes is similar.
Boom.
Boom.
You got to recapture, and then you're down a rook.
Right, and white's ahead. So.
And then you're never getting that rook out.
Yeah.
Well, you will. Just it's gonna take you.
Yeah. So, but in the game, Mr. Fur went for knight e5, and now black takes on d4, and now it's white's pieces that are hanging.
Yeah, I mean, it's not awful.
Can white get out of this?
I think they. Oh no. No, they're about to lose a piece. Although the same tactic might work. No. Does it? No, it doesn't.
What do you
It
think?
does, it
What
does.
do you think, Chad? Is there any way to sort of try and like save these pieces for white? Knight and bishop and knight all hanging at once, 3 minor pieces. Hey, Drent.
That is true.
Knight d4 kind of works.
What, knight d7 can just take first, right?
Take here, you mean?
Yeah, does that work? So he takes.
Takes. Now if black takes, you can take here.
But if black takes the
It's
pawn
here,
first, then that doesn't work. Oh, you could check. You could check on f6.
Saving that knight, yeah. And then here, get your pawn back.
Why would you recapture
White
with
sort
pawn?
of survives. Well, because this pawn's attacking us like this. So we sort of have to deal with it.
Oh, yeah. And otherwise you pin. Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like after knight e5, c takes d4, white has one narrow way to avoid losing a piece.
Right.
And it's not a good position for white.
No.
That position at the end. But it's the best white has. In the game, white went
And lost a piece.
gave up the piece there.
And they're
One back in exchange
They're
here.
down one back. Okay, they're down a piece, but
This is very complicated. We get knight and bishop against rook here. That's fascinating. Complicated tactics here, folks. In the under 1250 section, these players already know some patterns. Oh, and they also spent some key time on these two moves. If you look at their time usage, you see black spent the most time this game on this move here, which was important, and then white spent the most time on bishop d4. Now, the one thing I would say is, from white's perspective, white should have thought more after c5 than after knight e5, cd4. Because, like, knight e5 is the move that is kind of committing you to a certain, like, battle. If you play knight e5 and your opponent takes on d4 and you don't have a plan with 3 pieces hanging, then you're fortunate if it works out.
it worked. It didn't work out. In
It
my
didn't
opinion.
quite work out. White.
There was a way to make it work, but they didn't see it. I mean,
Yeah.
that knight on being on f6 kind of.
Yeah. So white should have stopped and thought right here when black played c5.
Yeah.
That's introducing this, like, tension, and white played an aggressive move in response. So white was embracing, like, okay, it's
Right.
the moment to fight.
Right.
But they hadn't put enough thought into this move.
That move,
And then the
I
two
don't
players
like that
thinking
move.
on these moves is good.
Right.
It's good time usage. So fast forward to their end game. The rook gets chased out of the back rank. That'll let black develop their pieces. Alyssa plays the best possible move here, letting this bishop out some more good. Sometimes there's, like, this question of, like, speed versus quality of development.
Sure.
Right? Like, in one move I could develop a piece. If I spend 2 moves instead, I could put it somewhere good. What should I
Right.
do?
2 moves.
There's not always... You think usually 2 moves
Yeah.
to go somewhere good? Yeah, it depends, right? And sometimes to put it on a good square would take 3 moves or 4 moves. And then you're like, ooh, I don't know if I got that kind of time, right? But sometimes it only takes 1 more move. And then, well, I find that it's usually a tricky decision. Like,
Right.
I don't think there's, like, a clear pattern of which is better or worse. Here, with this endgame pace and the fact that e5 deals with, like, rook h3 possibly as a worry, and yeah, I think e5 is definitely the right move here. But I don't always have a strong feeling about which is better. Often I have to think about it. Knight and bishop versus... Oh, right. That's what they're discussing here. Cartier and Daster and maybe some others are discussing whether the knight and bishop are better or worse than the rook in the endgame.
I mean, it's easier to checkmate with rook.
Easier to checkmate with rook. And Cartier points out that the value of the rook does improve as we get into the endgame, as
Right.
opposed to during the opening phase when the rook is really bad. Like, if we go back in time, like here, to some position around move 4, it's pretty easy to see that at the moment the rooks are not just that they're not at their maximum, they're almost at 0% of their
Zero,
potential.
yeah.
They're worse than your knights or your bishops at the moment, and they'll gradually catch up, right? So the value of the rook has gone up, but I still prefer a knight and bishop over a rook and pawn in the endgame. Even though the value of the pawn has gone up in the endgame, the value of the rook has gone up, and the value of the knight is the piece that tanks the most in value over the course of a game.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh,
So
because if there's fewer pawns and fewer structures.
yeah. If we had, like, queens on the board, white would be, like, lost. If this were a middle game, because black could just attack white's king and effectively have 2 pieces fighting against 1. And in the middle game, the knight and bishop aren't much worse than a rook. They compete pretty evenly with it at first, right? But here in the end game, it's very tricky and it becomes close. Sometimes the rook and pawn will beat the two pieces. Sometimes it'll be a draw. One thing is black needs to keep like pieces on the board and not make more trades.
Right.
Because every
Especially
further
pawns.
trade is going to give the rooks more scope and more room
Right.
to operate. Right now, if you look at this rook, you know, it's missing a couple of the squares it could go to, right? From
Right.
black pieces. But, you know, if these knights come off the board, if these rooks come off the board, it just becomes more and more space for it. So black wants to avoid trading
Right.
further stuff, and they want to create probably an attack against the white king. Rook on c8, knight on d4, stuff like that. Let's see what happened in the game. Knight d4. Nice move
I like that.
from black, right?
Actually, that's the move I was thinking.
Fighting with tactics, defending the piece, attacking this again, which is low on squares, attacking a weakness. Rook e3 was played, and black plays another fancy move here, knight g4.
I like that too.
Yeah. Pretty sweet. The other very interesting option for black was knight c2. And then, you know, you're calculating rook takes pawn, knight here, rook takes bishop, knight here, and seeing if your knight can escape. If the knight can ever get back to your side of the board, then you're winning, I think.
You think? Yeah.
Should be. Because basically you'll traded just your bishop for their rook. And you got a bishop and a knight against the rook. So if this can get out, then black will be winning.
Right. Wait, is this the current position? That's not current position.
No, current position is knight g4 was chosen.
There we
King
go.
here. This piece is almost trapped, but if this goes in, it's also trapped. And the rook still has a square. It's deathly complicated here. Goes for it! This knight has a one-way ticket into white's position. Wow.
You really wanted to stay there, didn't you?
This game is very exciting.
Check.
This game is very exciting and exceeds my quality expectations for players, you know, rated under 1200.
Yeah.
I mean, black's only in the 700s and playing like a completely accurate game.
White has knight d5. Is that a move?
Mm-hmm. Knight d5 is a move.
Knight
yeah.
d5. I like knight d5.
I think the other move that is really likely is this one. Knight d5 looks pretty good too. Oh wait, knight d5 is crushing.
Yeah. Lose a pawn.
No,
At least.
more than that. More than that, Scott.
Oh.
Your move is so good because the king's almost got nowhere to go, right?
Yeah.
Actually,
It's done.
like this, and like this, and like this.
Yeah.
There's only one square.
Right.
It's not where you want to go.
Yeah. There you go. Knight d5.
So Mr. Fur with a big opportunity here, and we notice that they've stopped and they're thinking about their move.
Alright, Daster. Enjoy your lesson. Hi, Neve Astorth.
Hey, Neve.
Do you know? Is it Pravid?
I don't think it's Pravid because
Pravid is
Neve and
Pravid.
Pravid have been on at the same time.
I know.
I think they may have even been playing in last Sunday's tournament at the same time against different opponents.
Maybe Pravid is just making jokes.
Yeah.
It's a very elaborate plan.
Pravid might have like an accomplice
I probably.
who like helps him with that or something.
Oh, we have a raid from
Josh,
Fidel.
the panda.
There we go.
So you can type straight. You can type straight into chat through your OBS.
Yeah.
I always have it open in another browser window.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you can change your title directly on here.
Right.
So
I
you
need
can
to
hit
add
done.
this thing into my.
What do you have?
my
What are you using?
OBS somehow. I'm using OBS, same as you. and I have it updated. It's just something that I have to add. Like, is it in
View,
tools
it's in
or
view.
what? It's in view,
And then docs, and then those are all your options.
and then I can add things. Whoa! I've never like explored this program.
Right.
You know, I just like one thing at a time that I feel like I need. I go and like learn how to
didn't
do
see
it.
it.
But if it's not there, you know, if I don't feel like a need for it, I never
Sure.
like go around and find it.
But yeah.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for this. Thanks for the raid, folks. Josh is a good friend of mine, a chess grandmaster, great guy. So you've got a link right there to follow his stream. Please do that if you're not already following him.
It's a shame that I didn't see it.
Yeah. Okay, so white went for rook f1, not the knight d5.
Still wins a piece.
Still looks like it might win, right? Because black doesn't... I don't see a way for black to save the knight, and it looks like Alyssa didn't find a way to save this knight. No, I have no news on Kostya Cartier, not for a while. I mean, I could check Twitter on my phone. Sometimes he posts
Right.
YouTube updates to Twitter or something. But when I checked this morning, I didn't see anything. Let's search for him. Kostya Kavutsky. Okay.
I really wish I saw that move. Because I feel like the knight problem would have still been there. And they didn't take the knight.
That's fancy. Taking
Check.
the pawn. So here, and this is still lost, right?
Right.
That's super, super fancy to try and take the pawn and then still take the piece. But there is a possible punishment. Do you see what black can do here?
In this position?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can fork.
Yeah. So the knight on c3 that came here was actually defending the e2 square. So that's why this move here is... Oh, and this has just happened. Alyssa took this, pawn took here, and now Alyssa needs to find this move, or she is going to be low on material in a second. May have one more move to find it, right? Because white might take, and then...
Then it's an even game.
Yeah, and it'll be an even game.
With...
Maybe one pawn up for white, depends how...
Yeah.
What they do here. Avoiding knight e2. White realized it.
Oh.
Now black's got one move to maybe save the bishop with king e4. I mean, it's pretty funky to have your king in front of everybody, but... Yeah, that's right, Foos. F takes e4 was good, as well as rook takes f2. So in this position here, white had two good options for continuing to win some material. Yeah. Okay, Alyssa finds king e4. And we've still got quite a battle on our hands here. I'm going to go open up some of the other games in the other sections.
It's pretty intense for what their
games to float.
ratings are.
Yeah, the intensity on this game is kind of off the charts. Sad Cat Nordvik's playing. Polly and Charlie Silva. Oh, Charlie Silva just finished playing.
Resigned.
The winner is HP Bob Dole. Look, Neve Storth knows too much about you, man. If I marry an MD, can I come out, hang out too? He knows like the club that we're in.
Oh no.
He or she or they. I mean, we know nothing about Neve Storth. That's the disturbing part.
This is a small section.
I think some of their games already finished, but yeah, let me see.
Oh, it's just their game's finished. Okay.
Well, three of the games finished. It's a little bit small, but... Okay, let's get back to our feature game. Mr. Fur and Alyssa.
Guys, I'm confused. What happened with white? Now they're about to lose a pawn. They could have just.
Well, let's see. Here, the rook was. Well, the king was attacked, so the king moved. Rook was attacked, so it moved. Took a pawn.
But like, I feel like you had the opportunity to just win material.
Right here. Well, here white realized this knight e2 idea, and that's why white didn't go through with that plan.
Yeah, but who cares about knight e2? Like, I get that it's not the best thing, but you win. You're winning a bishop and a knight for a rook.
Yeah. It would be a small gain for white. Yeah.
That'd be a small gain, and you have.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have a worse pawn structure by the end of it.
I know, Neve. I'm not worried about you, friend. I'm just joking around too.
No, actually, no. You win a pawn at the end of it all.
Like here, 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 here.
Yeah. Oh, I guess you wouldn't win a pawn. You just have.
Yeah, white's up a pawn that way. They could have done it. Maybe preferable.
This is just. I think this is totally losing for white now.
I mean, actually, I think if black played bishop g6, it would be totally losing for white. If black trapped this rook with bishop g6. But I think in general, this position here is not totally losing that they're playing, because it's knight and bishop against rook and like 2 pawns by now.
Yeah, and they just lost that
that's
pawn.
That's easily equal. Yeah, black went and took this pawn here, but white can... Whoops! How did that happen? Whoa. Thanks. So when black did this, actually white can punish it with rook check and rook takes bishop, and then take the knight. Right? So it's still possible.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah, so this should be working out for white. In fact, after king e4, you shouldn't even take the bishop, you should just take the knight. Because the king's going to be blocking the own bishop's diagonal, right? So you don't even, there's no point in sacking the rook. It's like fancy, it's a normal thing to remove the defender, you like take the bishop. But if the king went to e4, you should just take the knight. Seth working on a 90-point upset right now. I like how Nordovik is like such a big fan of Seth's. He's always boosting.
Oh yeah, I don't know about boosting. I think Nordovik is after Seth's throat. He's just like, what do I gotta do to get there?
Seth's game just finished. So yeah,
nice.
Seth did get the big upset. Is that a pawn that just queened? Oh no, Seth had an extra queen to work with. It's easier to queen a pawn when you already have an extra queen.
Yeah. Exactly, right?
F2. Nice. Check. King gets away. Takes. I mean, it's cleaner to just save your queen and then make a second queen. You don't have to sacrifice this.
Well, what's the fun in that?
I don't know.
Well, now,
some people find it fun to win, but this one too.
when I'm up a queen and I'm about to have another queen, that other queen is gonna have some fun with something.
Yeah.
Clark is a nice guy.
Yeah, when Elfins comes to visit California, Michiko, let's meet up with Elfins. I agree, that would be awesome. I'm in favor of that. Although he is going to be on an airplane full of people from Texas, so we should swab him when he gets off the plane.
I have a few tests here if you need them.
Make sure he's safe before we break bread. Congratulations, Seth, on the big upset. And yeah, back to our epic battle. Fur has a solid advantage ever since winning that bishop, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Follow Michiko rules. Oh my god, Michiko, I didn't know that. I haven't seen him, so I didn't know.
Oh, that's Is this mate?
Not
No,
quite.
not yet,
White's
not
own G pawn is preventing like the rook roller, which is one of the first checkmates I think that people learn how to deploy consistently. So if this pawn weren't here, you could play like rook G5 and probably checkmate the king. Right now, Mr. Fur has some work to do to try and go for a checkmate, or he could have just gone for like rook B7, rook A7, try to sort of clean up the whole board gradually. Now you could head back this way now that your pawn's gone.
I would check first.
Which one?
G. Check. Yeah.
Oh,
G.
check with this rook. Sure, yeah, that's good. And then the king has to go here to avoid checkmate.
Right.
And then you could try and bring this rook back somewhere.
Right.
Although rook F6, which I'm just suggesting, would be the worst choice.
Oh.
So on this move, right, I suggested this.
I don't want to do
That
that.
would be the best way to. That wouldn't be the best way to do it. Okay, this is a good start though by Fur. Charlie wants real life friends, but real life chess friends. Do not apply unless you know chess.
Oh,
and the
it went
checkmate
that
comes
way.
through for Mr. Fur.
Such
So ends our epic first round.
kind of disappointing that they went over to H4 with such a good
You
game.
wanted to see the battle continue a bit more here, right?
I mean, I think White is winning absolutely, but
Yeah. Very tricky actually to try and force through this checkmate when Black also has some like counter moves. So it's like a good exercise for Fur to figure out how to do this one here.
right. Well, to be fair, I suggested rook G7 because I was thinking, what if the king moved the wrong way?
Yeah.
And it did. That's why I said it. It was like there's always a possibility. I don't know. I don't know if that's hope chess, but I think it's still a good move, and there's a possibility of them messing up.
Yeah, I think it was the best move too. So that's definitely a good thing going for it. As I think about this some more, I think the best next move for White would be actually here, threatening this checkmate, with the idea that if the king moves closer here to this, now he's further away and there's more space over here. So then maybe come here,
Right.
where we're not getting forked, and we still have enough space to maybe give the checkmate.
Right.
And Black can try and defend with rook d5 or rook d3. I mean, it's still not obvious.
Well, and if they go, if they go rook d3 or rook d5, you could just go rook f8, and that's GG.
Right, keep getting away like
There's
this.
nothing you can do about that. You could check, but how many times?
Mm-hmm.
Once. You got one check left here.
Right, one more check. This defense maybe for a little bit longer.
And yeah.
Not easy to break through. It's possible that game, by the way, for anyone in the under 1250 section, it's possible that your round 2 has started. Like that game we were just watching that was pretty epic might have been the last game in that round. Yeah, okay. So here, lots of people in this section this week. Great. Glad to see it. We'd had a few weeks with less under 1200s, so
Yeah.
I'm glad to see an influx of some new blood here. But yeah, so everybody in the under 1250 section, if you're listening to us, make sure you mute the stream and go play your second game and then come back when you're done. There's no rule about drawing arrows during your games, Neve. No rule about it. I never even realized people do it. And apparently people sometimes mouse slip because they're drawing arrows. I didn't think that drawing arrows would be an advantage, so I didn't even realize people were doing it.
So just as a general rule, we pretty much follow chess.com rules.
Yeah.
For everything.
They attacked you when they had no right.
Oh no.
They're like, my opponent's attacking me! Crimes against chess. Yeah. How did you miss round 2, Michiko? What happened?
How do you miss a whole round?
Oh, I think she just means she missed a minute of it starting,
perhaps.
perhaps.
Okay.
So good thing that we announced it.
Yeah.
Good thing that we announced it. Here's Michiko playing e4, e5 with Indig, getting to that Spanish.
Rui, I still play Rui.
We didn't, Dordom. We were actually wearing different shirts. And the doctors mentioned that our shirts were matching, and we went to change shirts in separate rooms, came back out.
Same color shirts. This morning we were both in tie-dye shirts for some reason, and then now we're both in blue shirts.
Yeah. It's a good blue.
Mm-hmm.
My favorites are like turquoise, teal, those kind of
Yeah.
that area. Scott's like, of course.
It's understandable.
Okay, so white going for like a fancy exchange variation of the Spanish that's looking to win this pawn on e5. And Michiko recognizes that and defends the pawn on e5. But actually, your opponent just captured a piece here, right? So you have to prioritize the pieces.
Yeah.
And if you lose a pawn, so be it, right? If you lose a pawn, so be it, but at least all the pieces got recaptured, right?
And you can get that pawn back.
And in fact, you can. It turns out you can even take the pawn back.
And with some potential dividends.
Jeez, sounding better and better. So,
But
yeah, but
dropping
for this
piece.
case, right? So I mean, one lesson about this position that would be more advanced is that like your opponent can't win pieces from you that fast if you play logical defensive moves usually, right? So like white is sort of overpressing by thinking they can win a pawn when every move black has played was an efficient developing move fighting for these central squares. Right? So it's implausible that white could win, but the most important lesson at this level is that you've got to do your recapture of the expensive thing instead of worrying too much about like even fancier things, right? And that's one of the reasons why you see like as people get better, sometimes their rating doesn't go up right away because they're incorporating things that are kind of like too complicated. They're thinking about something fancier than what they need to be, right? So Michiko's at a level which, you know, maybe a couple hundred points before she wouldn't have been at, where she's recognizing like, oh, they're doing this to win my center pawn. She knows that center pawns are important, like that this is something you could go after as a target in the opening. She realizes the point of white's whole opening, and she gets, you know, worried about these complicated things and forgets something like simpler that she knew already before, which was that you just have to recapture the piece.
Right.
So it's like an example of why sometimes, like as you learn stuff, your rating can actually go down a little bit or stall for a while, and then a few months later, finally you manage to incorporate the new stuff with the previous habits and knowledge and skills. So this happens, and see here, right, needs to recapture as well.
It's another piece.
Yeah.
This is just a checkmate.
Yeah, white actually does have checkmate over here. She will chess talk. I think she checks the VOD when her games are featured in the tournament pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I think most people do.
Most people do, yeah. I was thinking of a different checkmate.
At the end of a tournament, people often say like, "Hey David, do you look at my game in round 1, 2, 3, or 4?" So they know where to like, what timestamp to go click to.
Is there a different checkmate, or is that it? That's it.
Yes, Damon remembers at some point I said you almost always have to capture back. It's very rare that you can just be like, oh, I'll do something else. There's all this fancy, complicated stuff in chess, but
recapturing is.
But some basics are hard to get around. Okay, let's open up a bunch more games.
Unless you're winning a queen.
We've got one last round 1 game. I like to give attention to those who fight to the last drop. Okay, so let's look at the conclusion of this endgame between James and Francis. Is this winning for white?
Yeah.
Yeah. No defense for Francis here.
I mean, I would go after. Yeah.
The best practical chance in this position as black, in my opinion, for those of you, you know,
Get rid of the bishop.
playing against 1,500 players or whatever, is to take this piece off and then hope that your opponent like stalemates you by accident. With 2 pawns, white can win, but sometimes the extra pawn just causes someone to like trip over themselves or something, you know? Because I could imagine, you know, you play here or something, check here, and then they're like, ah! Now what do I do? This is already confusing, right? If king f6, it's a stalemate. Sometimes you'll see people just sort of like back up, like not sure what to do, and they're like, and they try like weird like king maneuvers because they can't figure out what to do. I think that like the clearest answer is you have to sack this. to advance.
Right.
But, you know, at the end of a long, hard-fought game where someone's been playing for 30 minutes and they've got like 20 seconds left and they're nervous about, you know, bringing it home or spoiling a game that they're emotionally invested in, and suddenly they see a possible stalemate.
Right.
There's whatever, a 20% freak-out factor or something like that.
Sure.
Where you have a chance to save this game, I think, if you trade off the opponent's bishop.
Sure. No, I had a game where I had two pawns here.
Mm-hmm.
The opponent king here, and I had a bishop.
Matthew, it's your move. Okay, say it again.
Yeah, 2 pawns there.
Yeah.
King here, and
King
I had a bishop.
Yeah.
I forget what color bishop. I know it
Yeah.
really matters, but I was very scared to stalemate because like moving these pawns, and it was just a very tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
I could have very easily messed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with 2 pawns. Yeah. And even more often, I think, when it's like the rook pawn and the knight pawn, like you say, than when it's the bishop pawn and the knight pawn, there are some even more like weird things where you can't figure out how to
The corners
get around them. Yeah. And in fact, g6 and h7, if you just had 2 pawns g6 and h7 against the king on h8, that might be a draw. Because there's no way to sack this pawn and have your king come around, right?
Mm.
And if you ever approach, it's a stalemate.
Ah.
So it's possible that like king and 2 pawns against king in one scenario might actually be a draw. It's hard to imagine how you... Oh, no, I know what you
Can't
could do.
triangle. Right?
You could...
Triangulate, is that the word?
No, I don't see how to win it. So. All right, let's see round 2, everybody. Let's open up all these games. If you're in round 2, join your board. If you're at your board and it won't let you move for some reason, a problem that a few people have had today, try refreshing live chess. That's solved that problem for a few people. Some people have been frozen on move 1 in some of their games. Looks like in this section, most of the game 1s are going. Let's open up some games in another section. Alright, Neve has finally been able to play against Bob Dole. Oh, we got a lot of fun games going here. Okay, well somehow we pushed through the glitches and the late start and everything, and we've got a lot of games going.
This is another Scandi.
Moomin
Wow,
Troll.
that's a lot of games.
Have you read the Moomin Troll books?
No. What is that?
It's a series of books. I don't really know much about them because we're on page 2 of the first book we've read of them, and there's something called a Moomin Troll that's like waking up and like it normally hibernates and its family is hibernating, but the Moomin Troll's awake for some reason and can't go back to sleep.
Sounds like me.
We read 2 pages of this book, and my daughter started inventing songs about Moomin Trolls.
That's funny.
I've got a video I can show you later of her like singing about Moomin Trolls. But
she does like to sing.
There's something very gripping about it that I can't understand because nothing's really happened in the book yet.
Can I? What happened here? Hold on.
You want to see like how do they get to this? Wow,
No.
Queen coming out.
This is lose.
I would say definitely don't take it
No,
because
no.
then you're developing the opponent's piece.
Yeah, but can't you develop your bishop?
Here. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, there.
Yeah. That's what I would do. This move is really good also.
Interesting.
I very much approve of this move also because it defends this pawn, which keeps this knight from getting to the game, and it says, look, if you trade, I'm developing a rook, right? Instead of me trading and developing your bishop. However, I think queen takes, rook takes, bishop g5. It's not terrible for white. I would have preferred to try and really torture this queen with bishop here,
Right.
like you.
I think now you can torture. Forget the knight, forget your pawn structure, torture.
Yeah. I think Black was like a little bit worried that after bishop e7 they wouldn't have a square for this knight. Because this is taken and this square there's no g7 pawn.
Sure.
Which means it actually would have been important to do it here where you've got a chance of taking this pawn and freeing up this square.
Okay.
I think, although queen f4, defending that, and how do we get this developed? I would think something like this. If the opponent does this, you know, I'm fine losing a pawn in this way. White's not going to get. white's not going to survive this one, in my opinion.
No, every single piece but one is out for black. What I think is going to happen is if bishop e7, I think they're going to take the knight with the bishop.
You think white's just going to throw in this trade pretty soon? Is bishop f6 a play in the live position? This is the live position here, Stamen.
Bishop f6? A play?
Yeah, I'm not sure in which position Stamen means with that one. Knockouts, your game was fast and now your board slow down. I don't know if knockouts is saying that knockouts should slow down or if knockouts opponent should slow down, or maybe both of them.
Bishop h6.
Bishop h6. Oh. The thing is, white can well, I guess, and then black develops, and then white can trade, and black develops.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely one of the candidate moves for black here. Yeah, it does sort of. You got auto-corrected. That is annoying. Yeah. It's auto-correcting moves, which aren't even words. That makes no sense.
It auto-corrects my my moves all the time on my phone.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes I type things like 4 times.
Yeah.
I think it's a good place to think. Right here.
Yeah. Although overall, look how much time black's spending on this opening. They're investing a lot of time trying to figure out this opening, and it's not because they're successfully like punishing white or winning the game. It's just the position's so unusual that they're putting a lot of effort into picking the best moves. But this is a game which has a very high probability of reaching a middle game. And for me, with time usage, there's a difference between time usage in a game where you think it's going to be decided in the opening and a game where you think it's going to be decided in the middle game. If it's going to be decided in the opening, you can invest way more time, right? You could spend 12 of your 15 minutes even if you're going to come out of the opening with an extra piece or checkmate or something like that.
I thought of this move. I was not
really
for or against it. It was just sort of a move.
Yeah. Very reasonable move. Leaves a square for this piece, right?
Yeah.
But if you think for all your great moves that they're going to give you like a 1/10 of a pawn advantage or a 1/3 of a pawn advantage or something like that, they're actually not worth, 5 to 10 minutes of thought. They're only worth 2 or 3 minutes of thought. There it is. All the black pieces came out.
All the black pieces.
Yeah.
Was I guess it might still be an option, but queen d5, or not d5, queen d4.
Oh, to keep fighting this pawn?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what black's going to do is just castle quickly in this case, because then the knight won't be pinned, and so the knight will put pressure here.
Sure.
That's going to force white to decide what they're doing with these bishops and what they're doing about the e5 pawn. Now this is fancy, because now if black castles, white could take here and you couldn't take with the knight. What does black do about this? Maybe your move queen d4 now comes up, yeah. Because that way if this bishop takes, you can... But now on queen d4, white would probably try bishop takes e7. Huh. No easy answer. This move is a nice one from Anik, I think. This makes it much trickier to figure out what to do next for black, yeah.
Now, you could... Is there a preferred way that you would want white to take?
If I'm black, what do I want my opponent to do?
Yeah. It's assuming that you have one of 2 choices. Your opponent could take on e7 or c6.
I mean, basically, I want them to... I would want them to make all the trades, because I want the bishops.
So just play, A or h6.
Oh, but I don't want to lose time.
Yeah, but
I want to continue working on my queen and rooks. And just let them trade whatever they're going to trade.
I would...
Hey, Pravid.
No, you can't even do that. No, you can. I would go with think I go with a6. I know what you're saying. Oh no, that's not good. Now the rook. Oh no.
You know, this or this. Or even white just starts developing faster than you. You can't castle because the knight's hanging. You can't go defend your knight because the rook's there. You can't really move the knight because it loses a pawn in the center.
You can win a random pawn.
We can go take this, right? And now we're doing, and like, what do we do next, right? Like,
No, I never said it. I never said that.
Right. No, I know.
I never had a long-term plan. It was just
this is more like white's out of things they actually want to do, right?
Right.
So now you see how important it is to keep pace with the rook development, right? So we've got ideas like queen d4. We've got ideas like getting castles and giving the queen this square. Oh, I think we got to move. Queen d4. The move you had originally wanted to play. So now, white could trade and trade if they want to and keep the black king in the center.
Sure, and then, I mean,
right?
Pieces off the board.
But it takes some pieces off the board, and the queen is going to win this pawn on e5 afterwards, offering a queen trade, which would protect your king. And the rooks can come out.
Right.
I think white's angling for a check somewhere here. Ooh, it's complicated. I mean, something was busted about Anik's opening. Something about this queen h5 was not, like, the best move.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this line, too. But Anik is doing a really good job of making a game out of it, I would say. He's not making it easy for black at all.
No, I mean, black. Look at black's time.
Oh, I know this move.
And Kubert is an excellent player.
Knight c6. Here. I think the point of this opening, for next time, Anik, I think you want to play bishop c4 here. Isn't that the point of this opening? Oh, g6, queen f, and there's no queen f3. I see. Maybe d5 is right. And just like in the Scandinavian, go here. Now that may look like, oh, terrible, terrible, but look what black's done in the meantime. Just like a pawn move, and this knight's about to move twice, right? I mean, maybe it could go to d4. That would be slightly annoying. Interesting. Or bishop b5, renewing that threat. And threatening this in some cases. Interesting. Very, very
Can't you just take
complicated
the pawn,
opening. Which one? Here?
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Oh, okay.
But then his queen was sort of like moving around, and I mean, I think black has a good position in this opening.
Okay.
Probably.
Black just, or
But
white
he did all
just
this
castle. Oh, queenside. That's a good queenside castle.
Yes. Instead of kingside, it's to prioritize getting rooks on the open files as fast as possible. The king can't get out of the way yet because of bishop c4. So black needs time to bring this rook into the game, but also doesn't want to allow queen takes h7.
That is a problem.
So if white played rook d8 here, I think black would actually take with the king and run in this direction with the king, even though the structure could get messed up, just because this is awkward.
Is that a move?
Yeah. Oh yeah, g4 is a move. Weakening e4, right? Introducing an option of g5 at some point. Yeah, but look at that calm move from Anik. Just get the king out of the way.
How do we make that bishop happier? No, g7. Bishop is not happy right now.
For now, we don't. For now, the big question is, how do we counter the rooks in the center?
How do we
Because
counter?
our king is here. And if we use this rook, queen takes h7 is annoying. So h5 to free up this rook. That's the move I was thinking of too. In some cases, you could also trap this queen with like g5. Oh yeah.
But the best you're going to get out of it is a trade.
But we're up a pawn and our king is exposed.
Yeah, I absolutely.
So we'd be
would try
super
trade.
happy to do that.
Absolutely trade in this position.
Alright, question from Zweb Chess. Sorry it took us a moment, Zweb. it's also our focus to follow the games. Happy to have questions too. But do we think it's good practice to play critical variations where there's a chance we've miscalculated if we already have an advantage? Or should we avoid critical variations and just keep playing simple moves that give us a very low chance of making a mistake? It depends a little bit on your goals, Webb. Like, are you trying to just win the game you're playing, or are you trying to improve your abilities for the future so that you can win future games that you're going to play a year down the road and 3 years down the road? And it also is going to depend on the size of your advantage, right? Like, if you have an advantage that's like stable but half a pawn or less, and you've got a critical variation available that might win a whole piece, then your chances of just playing correctly and simply of winning the game are still only like 55% or something like that, right? I think the question about taking risks becomes more interesting when you've got a position where you think you've got like an 80 or 90% chance of winning, and then you see a really complicated line that might win the game, and you think, but I might be miscalculating it. Do I go for the knockout, or do I keep going? Bishop g4 is a consideration here. What do you think white would do if you played bishop g4?
Take the pawn on e4.
And sack the
Oh,
rook.
wait, never mind. Yeah, no, not that. Move or take rook, I guess.
Trade one here.
Maybe,
and then
but
maybe just take the pawn.
yeah, but then they're gonna lose the open file.
And this could be trapped, depending. Yeah, knockouts. I'm trying to teach a little bit of chess right now. But as far as my general personality as also a teacher, yeah, I've spent a lot of years teaching different things. I started teaching at age 12, I think. Tutoring math and French.
It's trapped. It's entirely trapped.
Seems mostly trapped, right?
No.
No. What do you want to do?
just
Just g5? This is check. That saves her.
Son of a bitch.
Yep. Man, look at the pressure that Q-Bird's on
Alright, then
the
fine.
clock here, right?
And this.
So back to your move, right?
And then
So if takes and grabs this pawn to give the queen an out, right?
then this.
How's it going now? This?
Yeah.
We can't yet.
Oh, you
can
can't.
play this first.
There.
But then this pawn will be hanging if we play f5.
Well, now you can just trade.
Could just trade
There.
and just play this endgame, right?
And this is hanging. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You're good.
It's an interesting endgame. White's got this idea, black's got this, black's got the d file. Not clear who's winning or losing there.
I don't
The
like
other move that you really have to look at with bishop g4 is f3. That move you always have to be scared
Yeah.
about.
There's take. Oh.
That's what you really have to look out for. But I think it turns out that after pawn takes, you could take here. Oh, sorry. After f3 from white, black could trade first with check, and then take, and white doesn't have e1 covered.
Okay.
But, I mean, and then what happens, I don't know. It's super complicated here.
Well, at this point, actually, white might actually still have that. Sorry, let's look at that variation. We were here.
You want to try the bishop g4 variation again?
Yeah. So bishop g4. Yeah, so here, bishop g4. Push pawn. Trade.
Yeah.
Trade. There.
Oh, and actually, guess what else black can do right here? Instead of taking the pawn. Oh, try to trap the queen now that there isn't knight takes bishop.
Right.
So we do the bishop move not even to win the rook, but just to get out of the way of that check.
Right.
That looks winning for black.
Right.
That position. But let's see what they're doing, because I mean, Q-Bird's got 30 seconds, so this game is gonna be developing pretty fast. Trade, 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 trade. And an equal endgame emerges. Wow, they threaded their way through that difficult game.
With very difficult amount of time for Q-Bird. Oh, man.
But
I really like
this
that.
move looked pretty
That
dangerous for
that
white,
was
right?
Killer.
Trying to trap this.
That's killer.
Because that F3 thing didn't work. We could go back to trying this for white to sneak out like that. But if this position favors anyone, I would suspect it's black here. I would suspect it's black, but he's got 18 seconds. We just have to see what they're doing. Can he keep playing good moves with 18 seconds in an equal endgame? Congrats, Boss Tweed. Great start. You planning to play the whole tournament today? All 4 rounds? Are you trying to win a tournament? Or are you just having fun?
So what do you want to do with your pawns here generally? Keep them in a straight line? Do the whole
If you're
diagonal?
trying to win, you want to put them on the color of the opponent's bishop.
Okay.
Here, it looks like Anik may have just blundered despite it being Q-Bird who only has seconds on the clock.
Oh.
He just blocking his own piece.
Does he doesn't have check?
Doesn't seem to have any... None of the black pieces are available for counterattack, right?
What was that? Oh, that was your dog.
Just doggy. Just doggy sign.
What do you... I mean, I guess. I would just...
Good luck, Demon. So, okay. So, I mean, to answer your previous question, if you're trying to win, you put your pawns on the color square of the opponent's bishop to try and block it and
hope
control
they don't
it.
get behind it.
If you're trying to draw, you try and put the pawns on the color square of your bishop so you can defend things and create blockades and avoid losing. But now Q-Bird with like 15 seconds on the clock is going to beat Anik with 8 minutes because Anik blundered that whole piece. This move here was just a horrible move with the opponent under time pressure.
Yeah. How long did it take to make that move?
It took him 4 seconds, and the interesting thing is that Q-Bird had 22 seconds. He spent 11 seconds on like winning the piece.
Yeah.
Right? And I can assure you he thought of the idea in like 1 second like me. With 20 seconds on the clock, he thought it's worth half my time to double check. I mean, you can't think for 19 seconds out of 22 double checking, even though it's critical, because then, you know, you're just flagging basically. But he invested all the time he could because he respects his opponent. Is this really a blunder? Watch out for the tactic.
Unfortunately, Q-Bird needs to move a little faster. He's losing a second every single move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, it's not easy to win this.
I think H4, G4.
You don't really want to trade pawns when you're trying to win, and right now his king can't get into the game. Wow, he's...
What?
White just resigned.
Why?
I think White was afraid that Q-Bird was going to flag and didn't want to win on time down a piece. Like the opposite of a killer instinct.
Good for you. Good for you.
Neve Storth, it should be a little X in the upper right-hand corner when you're in the tournament view.
Good for you.
Wow.
Who is this in chat?
This is him. The guitarist.
No, that's not Dr.
Is Anik
Guitar- is it?
Biswas. Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it? Dr. Guitarist, wow.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's honorable. I wouldn't have done the same. But
Guitarist is just finishing up just finished up med school and took an exam for placing in different residencies.
woo, that's exciting.
Didn't want to flag him, see?
He deserves the win. What do you think? I mean,
I would have kept playing. I would have made Q-Bird, find some moves here.
yeah. I mean, you could have still drawn it potentially. It's not.
Yeah. All right. Good luck.
Yeah, traded some pawns and I don't know, trade your knight for your bishop, and you might end up, or the knight for the bishop, and you might end up doing something. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, well, folks, another round has started in the
you.
under 1260 section, I believe. Under 1250, your opponents are waiting for you. So join your games. Mute the stream. Good luck in round 3 for the under 1250s. There's a couple people in the other section still playing, I think. You got any preference of where we go look? Let me just click a couple positions for you. Tell me which one interests you. We got double rook endgame.
No.
Double rook endgame.
No.
Banco position with the black queen in, and maybe black's up material. Oh no, rook against 2 pieces again. Messy, wild stuff, and rook versus knight endgame.
Actually, hold on. Can you go back to the last game?
Messy, wild.
Yeah. Was there a tactic here?
Nothing
there's
to be
mate.
sorry about, Anik. You played a great game. We watched your entire game, by the way, Anik. So that was our featured game for the round. White's in check.
Oh, White's in check. There's nothing.
But Anik, you can check the VOD later. We looked at basically your whole game that round. Nothing to be sorry about. You gave us a great game to watch.
That was great. Yeah. No, don't apologize. You're
Okay.
good. You do what you do whatever you gotta do to sleep at night.
So here, the pieces on the board are currently equal. And other than that, the position's completely insane, right? I mean, White's got a rook hanging. I would say that Black's king is hanging because White's threatening rook takes g6, which is forced checkmate. Technically, this queen is, tactically whatever. If Black had queen takes rook on the back rank or something, this is another fancy tactical element here. My guess is White's attack is going to be winning here, even if Black plays a defense against rook takes g6.
Yeah. I mean, I spotted this checkmate instantly. Whatever's happening here. There. I mean, that's all.
Guitarist, Queen h5 is playable in that position. I think I've played it before. There's also the move Bishop c4, and then if your opponent plays pawn takes pawn on d4, then you play Queen h5 with the bishop already on c4. So that's another line you could try out. And Bishop c4, if they play Queen takes d4, I think then you play Queen e2 defending your bishop, and then quickly Bishop e3 and Rook d1 and stuff. So that's another line you could try. But that whole situation for White after Black plays e5, I don't know that there's like a terrific line for White. Okay, yeah, h7's hanging, the king's just running. Bishop b5 to cut it off, yeah. Dude, you know how sometimes it's better to cut someone off than to chase them?
Yeah.
How about that? Cutting them off.
But your queen is hanging.
I know.
Oh. It's an issue. Is it still? Hold on. It is. Oh, it is.
So this could be a very, very high class version of cutting someone off. Because if we chase, right? If we chase, it still works out. Okay. Sad Cat just played Queen h7.
And mate is...
And mate is coming up, right? Real soon.
Well, there is this.
Hey, Linear Stork.
There's this.
There is that.
And then this.
Yep.
And then that.
Seems to sort of delay checkmate by one move, but not for very long.
2 moves, David. 2 moves.
Yeah.
So when people are like, oh, mate in 1. I'm like, no.
Mate in 2?
It's mate in 2.
Yeah.
The queen can block for 1 move.
Sad Cat's got 30 seconds.
I think he's got it.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's more, but it's not an unheard of. Oh, never mind.
Random rook move. That has nothing to do with checkmating Black. Like, that doesn't even get you closer to checkmate, right? If you wanted to checkmate, the rook could have come here, maybe, right?
Yeah, could have gone there.
So now he's got 30 seconds and
The thing is, the rook
not
is,
forced
the rook
checkmate.
is hanging. You can't checkmate if your rook is hanging.
Yeah. Boldly taking the pawn. E7's covered by a bishop.
Oh yeah, never mind. I lied. I was just looking at it,
Yeah.
Oh, he took the pawn.
Yeah. I mean, knight takes pawn might make sense just to take the opponent's queen or rook, just to take material at this point, now that you don't have checkmate available. But look at that, now he's under 10 seconds.
So there.
5.
There.
Oh my god.
There. 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 There.
Well, the rook's blocked by the knight right now.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
You'll learn how to enjoy it one day, Hagilda. I used to ask myself that same question as you, now I just love it. Well, when I first started out, I just loved it. Yeah, I just loved chess for a long time, and then there came like a phase where I was worrying about like the results and like trying to be a GM and like getting upset about like my opponents knowing opening theory, or just like things would like mess with my enjoyment. But now it's all just fun again.
I get upset with my opponents knowing opening theory. I do. I hate opening theory. I hate traps. Yeah. I like. I just want to get out of the opening without falling for a trap, and I'm happy.
Yeah. Whoa! Fancy move from black with bishop e4, and the sad cat reacts with a necessary quick move. I mean, at some point, white needed to play something fast, right? I don't know if this move was good or not, but... Can these chairs tip over? No, they can't.
No, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I just
it's pretty
had
good.
never used it before, and suddenly like, whoa, it's really going backwards.
Bam!
Woo! Right, Jaybird, a lot of people in your boat. That's like the most common problem in chess, I would say. It's a bunch of people with like big egos who are upset if they lose, feel like they deserve to win, like think they're more important than their opponents, stuff like that.
More important than my opponent.
Here's some nice sportsmanship. Black in this game saying GG after getting checkmated by the sad cat. So, props there. Yeah, it's not that I want to get destroyed or anything, but I think you just have to learn to like love and respect other people. That's the way to do it. I mean, to actually like be happy for an opponent. I'm not saying everybody's there. You don't have to be there, Scott, but I think it's still true. Maybe I should make some videos on this subject since it's such a common thing. But it's not like there's an easy like X's and O's way to like work on it. Or maybe I could think through it and come up with something like that. Wow, this game's still brutal. But Johannes has a full extra rook, so we'll be going into round 3 soon. Why does Clark have 5 minutes on the clock? When Seth and Johannes have like 30 seconds. They're in the same section, right?
Well, can I go back to the other game? 30 moves versus 50 moves. That's why.
So they're on move 30, and they're on move 50, so an extra 20 moves times the 5-second increment. Seconds, 20, 200 seconds. So yeah, 3.5 minutes extra. Yeah. Okay. So here they are in the end game. There goes Paulie's last pawn. Queen c6 check would lose because black trades, and then your king can't catch the pawn anymore. It's a very rare blunder from Paulie. I'm surprised. I mean, I did think of the move, but it's like you play queen c6 to trade queens, and then oops. Wow.
Poo.
Wow. Point for Clark. And let's open up all the new games. So round 3 in the under 1250 has already been going for a little while, so I missed a couple of the games, but let's get them all going. Alright, and who's in the lead in this section right now? not to stoke the egos, but we've got Sport Pikachu and Chess and Chai both with 2 points out of 2, and they're playing each other.
There you go.
Right here. So that's pretty cool.
We got back. I'm gonna get my coffee.
Okay, yeah, get it.
It's been hours.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Hi, Puppuccino.
Linear Stork has gained 200 points recently by analyzing their own games. Definitely the Jesse approach. Just looking at the losses. Oh, that's too bad, Bogdol. Try refreshing your screen, Jaybird, like Ursus is saying. That seems to be like a common bug today and a solution that's working for a lot of people. Sad Cat up on board 1 over here in the 1250 to 1650 section. Hopeless weirdo. Alright, got our games open. Good luck, everybody. In round 3, is Drew playing Seth? Yes. Drew is playing Seth. They basically have played an unofficial Dojo Rivals match like 2 or 3 times over already. They've played each other so much. Hopeless Weirdo is your senior? That's funny, Guitarist. Okay, let's see if he's your senior in chess, shall we? Hopeless Weirdo. No, he's a bit lower rated than you in chess. Squid, try and refresh or something. You are in here. You do have a game. Let me see where you are. You're playing Renek, and it's still your first move as white. Jesus, it's annoying. Try refreshing or closing, refreshing, reopening, something. Anybody else still frozen? Map view. Refresh or something. Logged in and out. He coaches you? Coaches you on medicine or on chess? That's a good question, Opashach, whether Nordovik or Seth has more points over the years. What's up, Demon? Did you win a game? Despite having to play people way higher rated than you? Coaches you in both. Just an amazing person. Oh! Well, I'm guessing that you're the one who introduced him to Chess Dojo, so thank you for sending us an amazing and hopeless person. We're very happy to have amazing people in our dojo. Alright, Squid is in. D4 played. We're next going to play you a 7 minutes versus 7 minute game with a 5-second increment, if that's okay with you. Oh yeah, I read you saying that earlier on in the stream, Demon. And isn't it great to talk about your games with the people you played with? Isn't that just fantastic? The post-mortem, my favorite chess culture. And you guys know I like a lot about chess culture, but my favorite thing is the post-mortem. Let's check out Sport Pikachu against Chess and Chai, if I can find that, because they're up on the top board. I know we've got kind of an under 1250 focus so far in the games I've looked at today, folks. I apologize if that's something that, if that seems like unfair or not balanced enough, or if somebody, strongly prefers when I go around through a lot of different sections more. It's just kind of happening. We'll check out other games too. Shout out to Yaha, yeah. Okay, so here we are. Chess and Chai made a very, very important threat in this position. Rook e1, trying to play e4. Now, e4 is a big strategic goal and threat for white in this position. In this case, it's also a tactical threat. And black really needs to think really hard, is there any way to stop this e4 move? Because that move is huge. So I give this as a puzzle to you all. And let's let the under 1200s in chat try and answer it first. Anybody under 1250 in chat, can you find any way to stop white from playing e4? We'll give you guys like a minute, and then if you don't see it, we'll let people in the 1250 to 1650 range coach you and suggest an option for black. What do you think, Demon? Anything black can do about this e4 threat from white? In the game, Sport Pikachu maybe didn't notice the threat, and what happened in the game was Sport Pikachu just developed the rook, looking to play e5, I think. And after e4 from Chess and Chai, black lost a piece. We'll see if that ends up deciding the game, but certainly white's got a big advantage. So what could black do here? Any ideas? Whoops. Sorry about that. Great. Good job, guys. Bishop e4. Just actually occupying the square, and the rook's control can't be felt through the pawn. It's not easy to see. It's just like a simple one-move thing from a certain perspective, but if you don't know it, you don't know it. Sometimes you can just occupy that square to block them out before they get there. And then you're in good shape. Who are you looking for, Sinesia? Sam? Sam who? Sam what? Do you have an opponent named Sam who's not playing their moves? What's going on? Here's where we're at in that game.
You can't just hang out right there when the door opens.
Hey, puppers! Come here, sweetie. Come here, puppers. Oh, good girl.
Cool.
Good girl.
Want anything to drink? Want water?
Yes, water, yes. Hey, puppers. You want to come comment? Here, come on up. Come on up. Oh, Sinise, you're wondering where Sam Shankland is? Sam Shankland is playing the Euro Club Cup.
There you go.
Thank you. You want some peppers?
Well, want me to get him his bowl? Or what?
She's got her bowl right here.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
She does. Okay.
She just seemed interested. And I was pretending that I share cups with her, which would be a little bit gross, and I don't actually do
You want
that.
some coffee, buddy? Want some coffee?
It would only be like a tiny bit gross. Not grosser than the fact that she licks my face.
Where's Sam? Surprise, he's back. No, I'm just kidding.
Sam's in the closet, too. Jaybird and Sad Cat have a very, very balanced position so far. Looks like an exchange French or something.
All right. I hate the French. Not the people.
Right.
The opening, everyone.
The opening.
Just to clarify.
We've had a lot of people get their messages auto-modded by Moobot when they come in and say, like, I hate the French, and it's like auto-modded, like, hate speech or whatever.
Right.
That's the most common one, actually, on our whole channel, I think. Poor French opening. I don't even know why it is, but...
It's just like, you play e4, and you're excited, you're, like, ready for, like, a fun attacking game, and then they play e6, and you're like, mother...
Mother, why did you make me become a chess player?
And then you're like, this is going to be that kind of game.
And your mom's like, I didn't. I told you to study.
Yep.
I told you to do your homework.
Yeah, I'll get you a Plan Maestro. Ooh. Alright, cool. And then, yeah, they do that, and then...
Yeah.
And then we don't move at all.
And there we are. Live position.
Live position.
Pretty equal. So, let's see.
Ooh, Seth and Clark.
Yep.
Did we look at that? What are they doing?
We haven't yet. I've been like watching this game, but with White having an extra piece, it lost some of its excitement. What's going? What is this? Maybe a mouse slip, and Chess and Chai is like forgiving it and not taking on B4.
I don't know. I don't think he saw it.
Wait, Automod let Ofeshach say I hate the French.
I added it Hoki added it yesterday.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So it's just been fixed that you're allowed to say that.
Yeah. I went to add it and then Hoki added it. Like
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like we can actually. I don't know if you know this, but I don't want to show that. It's actually not that big of a deal. But mod actions. Yeah, when you see this, and then you can look at all the mod. Yeah, right here.
Added as permitted term. Just yesterday. I hate the French.
It must have been me then,
The whole
or
thing we're
maybe it was.
talking
I
about.
don't know. Someone clicked it.
I hate the Italian.
It's not hate speech. You're speaking about one person.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so and Sourbound posted something that got auto-modded. I guess it was a link.
This is still a game. Why did he forgive that?
I have no idea what happened with this queen before, but very weird, right?
Even if it was a mouse slip, they took a pawn.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And they're not saying it was a mouse slip, at least not that we see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Alright. Well,
Who knows?
I'm not gonna
Alright, so
lie,
here
it's
they are.
not too much of it. It is a game. It is
It
a
is
game.
actually a game now
Pawns
because White only has pawns on one side of the board, so it's a little bit tricky to use this extra bishop.
Here's a move. Rook D8
Rook d8 to trade it.
as white. Assuming it's White's turn.
Right. It is.
It is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, this piece was highlighted.
Yeah.
Rook D8. I like. What do you think? That's also a move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just check me through it.
Yeah.
I think Rook D8's even stronger now, right? No, it's not. It's weaker. I lied.
The big question is whether you can take this pawn.
Huh?
The big question was whether White could just take the pawn,
No, huh.
or whether they would lose the bishop. Like this.
Right.
That's the big complicated question.
Then-
Here you got Queen C4.
Didn't they just drop the bishop?
What?
Didn't they just...
Oh, in the game you mean?
Yeah.
In the game you play check.
Oh, check. Okay. Check.
But the line that I was considering here was Rook takes pawn, trying to get a pawn. Planning to escape h6 with check, followed by retreating the bishop. But then black plays b5, taking away that square. And now black's threatening h6, and you're a little bit tangled around. But I think it would probably be sufficient to just play a move like h3, defending your queen. And then you can always retreat the bishop. So I think grabbing the pawn was probably good. White went for check, and here we are.
Now let's save that bishop.
And popping over to Sad Cat. What's going on? Knight check. This pawn's sensitive. King's probably forced back. This is the best square for knight against this pawn structure over here.
Well, either of them move.
Because if this one moves, you can often take this one. I mean, here it's defended, but just sort of, generally speaking, knight's very well placed against those two pawns. It can freeze them and attack them, so. We'll see the king have to retreat, and then we'll probably see g3 from white, trying to run this piece out of squares and force that trade. But is it any real trouble for black? Like, is this any problem for them to just do this? And then here. So here white would be down a pawn, but probably equal because of how well placed their pieces are. White played g3. Rook d7 earlier had been really good in that other game, Steeman. For several moves, Rook d7 had been good earlier in this game. For example, like right around the time that they were doing this weird queen hanging thing, white actually had like Rook c7 at some point to threaten checkmates this way, which looked pretty good. So like right here, crushing.
Yeah, it's pretty.
He traded and went here, where again could have come into the 7th rank. So there were several moves, and then here again, I think where you're saying instead of this, again Rook d7 first would have been good. So yeah, I agree with you that just getting that Rook to the 7th rank sooner would have been right. Now it looks like black's kind of giving a perpetual check. Looks like Pikachu's about to like save this with a draw. Okay, white tries to get out. It's risky. Hopefully white sees the queen can come back, because if they're planning to keep wandering up the board with the king,
They're gonna get mated.
the risk level is just unacceptably high. Hold your breath, anyone who's a fan of chess and chai.
You can go back. Go back.
Yeah, you could play g5, and then there's rook e4 comes down. Could play bishop g5, then there's queen f2. I definitely don't recommend that option.
Queen f2.
For white, I don't recommend this, because after this, your king's boxed in by this piece, and you lost a pawn, which gives the opponent more like angles at you.
And you're gonna get.
I mean, maybe you can still survive with queen g3, but presumably white doesn't see queen g3, since they moved out last move. Baron says king g3 does it. Oh yeah, that's a good move.
I like that.
That's a good move.
Well, king.
I was most afraid of h6 in this position. White. But here we are. Oh! Seth won the game against Clark. With it. With a checkmate. Let's just see the checkmate just for fun. I do like checkmates. So here is basically messy. Clark's king is in the center, and Seth's knight is trapped.
Right.
So they each have something going for them. Queen e6. Bishop g4. Could consider queen takes b3 here. Went this way.
What was this? I don't know if that was worth. Was it worth it?
What do you mean?
That move? Was it? I don't know.
Which move? This was a trade.
Yeah, but should have white done that?
Maybe.
Okay. Doesn't matter too much.
And here's where black won knight b4, getting the knight out and taking this piece. That said, Clark could have probably taken the knight now, right? And instead he allowed checkmate. If he took the knight, it's still a game.
It's more than a game, right? Yeah. It's very much a game.
The queen's defended. I think that's what he was worried about, right? Was he didn't do this because of his queen?
Maybe?
Maybe that's why he didn't take. I don't know. Because, I mean, the knight... Or maybe he didn't realize that the pawn had been unpinned because the king's moved off of the c-file finally.
I'm an idiot.
Because one move ago... yeah. One move ago the knight came here and he couldn't take it. So maybe he just didn't know that he could.
Yeah.
But,
So apparently, yeah. Black is winning that endgame though.
black is winning that against us. So. That may be. We just look at, you know, what you should or shouldn't do, and here you've got a chance to take a knight. And,
I mean, I think, I'm not gonna lie, I think that was probably like the worst possible move.
yeah. Allowing mate in one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not capturing the knight back and setting up mate in one for the opponent that wasn't even threatened. Yeah. Here, black's not even threatening mate in one. You have to move the rook to allow it.
Alright. What's wrong with, like, I don't know, rook D, or rook A4, or A3, something like that.
Nothing.
Right. And then you're kind of getting your,
The next move you can take it.
alright.
Yeah. The end game is probably winning for black, but not easy. Alright, let's check back on our feature games. Oh, white extricated the queen and or the king and ended up winning this game. Found the king g3 move
Okay.
that was suggested, traded everything off, and easy life. Meanwhile, over here, the more equal endgame, what happened with this one? Oh, the king couldn't get to this weak pawn. Isn't that annoying? You're so close to wrapping it up and winning the game, and you just can't get there.
I know.
I wonder if there's a way, like here, to try and push the bishop, and then you get like this, but you hang your own pawn. That's not a way. Okay, so white had to play f3 to move forward with the king. Very, very interesting endgame.
More or less even.
Yeah. But so that's like the thing. A lot of times these positions here, which are super boring in the opening or middle game to some people, like eventually they reach a phase that is interesting again.
Right.
Even these, like at some point, you know, some stuff gets traded. Eventually you have to play something like this, make tough decisions.
So white needs to lock it up. And that's it. I think it's white's option right now, right?
Let's see. I mean, white could try to bring the knight to f5 now that black's played g5, making this quite a weakness. This would be a perfect square for the knight now. Oh. It could move by black doing that before white could do it, huh?
Right.
Before white could set up. And now, black has the possibility to make an outside pass pawn, which would be an advantage for black and tough for the white knight to deal with.
Right.
Right? So... h3, g5, g4.
Here, can you... Hold on, can you... What happened next? There. With the king being there. Like, I'd almost... But that black king there is it's very painful.
Yeah. And normally, the first thing you do when you get into an endgame like this is you bring your king as far forward as you can.
Right.
But black has this pawn available to take that away from white. Right? So it doesn't gain anything to come forward if we're just going to get pushed back. So instead, white could play like g4 to fight for that square.
Right.
But I think black would do the same thing as in the game. F5 to control that, and if takes, and the king does that job, right? So that's very, 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 very important question here is, could white have somehow established the king on one of these squares?
What about this?
Mm-hmm.
So we're here, this,
Mm-hmm.
this.
Right.
Does that work?
Maybe. What do you think? What can black do?
What can black do?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah, maybe. What if they wanted to chase white back?
If they wanted to chase white back?
Mm-hmm. Two options.
You have this, but then this doesn't matter because
Right.
they can't get in.
Yep, that didn't chase white back.
I want to chase white back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
That's really annoying.
Yep.
That's really.
And there's a second way to do it. Pointed out by your Dojo bro.
This one?
Yeah.
Um.
And that
Yeah.
also forces the white king back. So you can get a bit of a standoff, right? Like you don't have to trade on F5 yourself
Yeah, but that back
and
is
bring the black king in. Like
right.
you could try and like hold the line here
Right.
and just keep him from coming forward. But it seems we can't establish the white king on one of these squares,
Right.
which is bad news for white.
Hey, little guy.
Okay, so let's see their current position is like this. Look, black's logically gaining the advantage now with that pawn, right? White places the knight to try and keep the black king from penetrating. Right? That's clever defense.
I don't think that pawn push was good.
Because now the white king can go take it.
Yeah. I mean, potentially.
Yeah. I agree with you. White played something else, but I think king f3, bishop d4, king g3 would be a draw. Right? And white should have probably done that. So if black wants to prove an advantage here, they have to play the same move from before that Charlie pointed out, this check.
That's annoying.
The king has to choose which direction it's going. If it goes towards like d3 or something, then maybe you can come this way. Actually, maybe we need to be even cleverer than this. Because
As
king
white?
e4, yeah. King e4 leaves the king controlling all directions, right?
Right.
g4, king f3 is still good for white. So, but if we go king f5, then check again. I wonder if there is a way here.
Well, it's too late now. But in this position, as black right now,
Yeah, I wonder if there's any way to really prove black's advantage. Right now, black has the advantage of bishop versus knight and outside pass pawn. So, like, it should be good for black.
I'd say the outside pass pawn is the biggest advantage. But you really like your bishops.
Yeah. I didn't find anything convincing here. By the way, I think some sections might already be entering round 4. Okay, so round 4 has started, folks. Round 4 has started.
So what about something? So all right, so there.
For the under 1250 section. So check your live chess. Again, there's been some weird bugs on chess.com today, so if necessary, you might need to refresh your live chess. Okay, and a sad cat goes into the last round in first place in this section. After white didn't go for king f3, king g3, this g pawn became
Yeah, that's what I was afraid
crushing,
of.
right?
But you needed to block the G.
And
the
this is the
G4. advantage.
advantage of the bishop versus the knight.
Right.
Right? Like you can just zip back like that, right? And that's game over. Okay, so 1250 to 1650 section, your final round 4 is also starting right now. So good luck.
But like
Go check on it.
in a position like that, if I was white with the knight, I would play differently. Obviously,
You would keep your king near this pawn.
yeah, but I'm not talking so much about that. I'm just talking about the pawn structure over here.
On the queen side?
Yeah, I would try to just lock it up if possible.
That's not going to change the fact that black's winning
Well, forget that
by
outside
driving
pass.
your pieces to this pawn.
Forget the outside pass.
Oh, if they don't have the pass pawn?
Right.
Well, then they don't have an advantage.
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, assuming that it's 3 and 3, I would do my best to just lock it up, and then.
If it's 3 versus 3, honestly, like, you can't lose, locked or not. The knight's not worse than the bishop when all the pawns are on one side of the board.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when pawns are on both sides that the knight's actually worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to do right now.
Let's watch movement troll. Rook against 2 passed pawns.
Kostya will be here next week.
Jeez, look at that f pawn go.
Yeah, Charlie, we just have hot chocolate and talk chess all night. Do you want hot chocolate, actually? I know you like chocolate.
I do like chocolate.
Do you want, like, just, like, regular chocolate
Water,
milk?
see,
Water?
yeah.
Alright.
You already made those chocolate pancakes, and I'm already pretty spoiled.
Yeah.
Cookies.
Cookies. Pasta. That farro is a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
It was good, but I don't know if Pharaoh's gonna make Charlie as jealous as chocolate chip pancakes. So.
Yeah, Demon.
Good luck in your last game,
Good
Demon.
luck. What's Demon's name? Is it Demon?
There is an international school quite near Scotty here. It's an international like language and translator school.
I didn't know that. Where, like, San Jose?
Monterey.
Really? I didn't know that. What's Demon's name, do you know?
Demon.
That he's in the...
658. If you want to see his
Oh,
name.
okay. Let's check out Demon. Demon's working hard.
Yeah. He's playing against Tim Nice here. Oh, look at that pawn grab on b2. And then you can't get your pawn back like you normally would because of the back rank. So black saves the pawn and saves the bishop.
That was a good find by
Tim Nice. Yeah.
Tim Nice. Not very nice of you,
Now
Tim.
rook d1's rook. Look at that.
Check.
Back to the game.
Wait.
Oh no! Oh, you're right. Oh my god! And he's sort of forcing him to find it now. A hockey team in Trondheim. That's true, Charlie. In all your travels, have you ever gone to like a super northern place where hockey would be big? Somewhere in the Arctic Circle? Or what would it be? The Arctic Circle?
There it is.
And chess is big in Norway too.
I found it.
Tim Nice finds the nice tactic.
That's gonna be a GG. There's so much time left. What happened?
He only goes to places like Bermuda, Taiwan, Saudi, Dubai. Those are all like pretty warm weather places. Maybe Charlie likes warm weather despite his affinity for ice hockey.
Okay.
All right, let's open up all the games. Oh no, this one's still going. This last game of round 3.
Oh, that's one problem. You're okay.
Wait, he's got an extra pawn. I think Moomintroll wins this game now.
Wait, I'm confused.
Yeah.
What happened here?
Well, he had 2 pawns against the rook, and the pawns got far enough that the rook had to trade for them. Look, they got like this far up the board.
Oh.
And black had to like trade for them, and
Yeah. Okay.
And then the king and pawn ending is basically very bad for black, so they're not trading queens because their pawns are so weak over on the queen side.
Right.
White had a chance to take this pawn, but thought that black would have a perpetual. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Has to go back and defend the king. And then this plan was a great plan by white. If black takes, you win this pawn with check, and then you come back and take that one.
Fancy.
White's playing this endgame perfectly.
These 1900s are fancy. It's like they know what they're doing somewhat. A lot better than I do. Oh, someone posted their game.
Cool. Hi, Remshock. Welcome to the stream, or maybe you've been here all along. We're just about getting to round 4 of this tournament. C4 check, yeah, and king d5, king c6. Moomintroll's going to come through in the last game of round 3, which means Moomintroll will go into the last round in first place in the 1650 plus section.
There you go, Moomintroll.
You won a classical game. Bravo, Remshock. And bravo to Moomintroll. Alright, let's open up round 4. In the under 1250 section, we've got 2 players already with 3 out of 4. Daniel Schleif and Arush already finished their last round game. So the question is, can one of these 2 players win this game and tie for first place in the section? King is coming in long dark diagonal. And materials equal. Bishop versus knight, possibly strong, possibly weak. Oh, that's great, Charlie. You got a lot going on in Dubai then. Boss Tweet in 3rd place in this section right now. And let me open up games from the 1250 section. Whoa, Seth's up on board 1 against a Sad Cat in the last round. He's got to beat Sad Cat
You got it, Seth.
to catch up, right? He's 1 point behind.
Thank you for the 5 bits.
Okay, and in progress in the 1650 plus section, we've got Renek half a point behind Moomintroll with the white pieces. Game's just kicking off. Ada and Solarsi. Elephant and Squid.
I hate this thing so much over here. Wait, so they traded queens off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, white didn't want to allow this like bishop h3 with some counterplay against their king. And this position here, I think can give white a nice advantage actually in the queenless middle game. Should be quite nice for white actually, I would think.
D4. So that's the issue.
This one here.
I don't play D4.
Yeah.
I did the London for a bit and then I stopped. So
That's right, I remember a London game of yours.
yeah, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blue. That's right, you are. Wait. Could it? Was that a good one? Hold on.
This?
No, that loses. Does it not?
Lose? Let's see, does this? What's
No. Never mind. But if he takes with the pawn,
Uh-huh.
I guess it's even.
He did take with the knight, though, to allow this bishop to develop.
Right.
Using this undefended pawn to try and make white trade an extra piece. White defends that pawn, hoping that this pawn is going to remain weak here.
Bishop g4, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the move.
Most likely, yeah.
I don't get this one yet.
Just developing it.
Yeah, I guess it's better than c8.
Yep. Let's move them into the center. Alright, let's come around a second. We got this. Banco. Whoa. Scandinavian that looks really risky for black to me at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
This piece, this king, some problems.
Oh, wait, this is a thing. Go back to that game. Oh, it's black's turn.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. I thought I saw a tactic. I lied. I did not see a tactic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see something?
Just a generally bad position for black.
Just for black, yeah.
They can't move too much.
No.
Their king's kind of stuck in the center, and some of their pieces aren't developed.
They can't even open up diagonals. A diagonal for the bishop.
Right. I mean, it seems like they'll have to play e6 at some point.
Right.
It's not like good for them.
Right.
This move looks pleasant for white whenever they want to play it. Black sort of has to take it. Because if they move the knight, then pawn takes is check, and then you take the queen.
Right.
And then you get this bishop here, like here, and castle. Looks like black's pretty busted. In that line, I guess another thing you could do as white is you just play rook d1. Just trying to tactically go after this as soon as possible.
Rook d1.
And yeah, but the thing is, if black doesn't play e6, what are they ever going to do? Like e6 looks like sort of suicidal to the king, like break you open the center when your king's there and you're not developed. But if you don't play e6, what moves are you ever playing for black here?
That.
Sure, I'll develop this.
You're playing that move. I think they might be trying to
find it.
That, and I think that loses a pawn.
What does? Going here, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they're going to do that at some point. It'll lose them a pawn.
But then it might be better than not having any of your pieces developed.
Yeah, you didn't do bad, Demon.
Is there something that we're missing?
No.
No. All right.
I mean, as far as like moves from black, no, black can hardly move.
Right. They have. Can they move that knight? No, they can't. They can't move the knight. It's pinned.
Oh, look at that. The International School of Monterey does have a program that Charlie's qualified to teach in, or does teach in.
There you go. You can come over to the Bay Area and visit us. You can also sleep over.
Yeah.
I'll cook for you, Charlie, just for a weekend, not much longer than that. Put too much effort into my cooking. You know, it's really hard.
I do see how much effort you put in.
What is?
More than me.
Can hold on, sorry. Whatever. It's bad for black. We get the point.
Yeah, that position's just
All right, let's just go next
it's
game.
tragically bad. So let's see. This game here with first place implications. This pawn is on the run. What should white do here, Scott?
White should white do here? What I want to do with white?
Sure. What do you want to do with white?
Hold on. I need arrows.
Yeah.
Nope. Sorry.
That's correct.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the position revolves around this passed pawn. Is it strong or is it weak? Is it good or is it bad? White already controls this square here. So the last square to blockade it on is d7. So if the pawn gets here, it's over. This is the piece that's stopping the pawn, not the rook.
Yeah.
So in the game, white played f4, which is going for a rook trade, but you'll see the game will continue because the knight blockades the pawn, and you know, white's got no way to break down that square at the moment, right? So we're going to see that endgame go on. If instead white played rook takes knight, black could give up. They could take with the pawn or the rook. It makes no difference after this pawn comes here.
Oof.
Nothing to do, right? White controls the square. So,
What is the current position? 4. Yep. There it is. Proton Bra, thanks for the follow. Boss Tweed, thanks for the follow. See, you see him here. I don't know if you see all that.
okay, you're seeing some notifications.
Yeah. And then here you can see like the live, and then apparently someone clipped. I don't know what that. I don't know.
It tells you that one person has made a clip from this show.
I don't necessarily know if that's true. It's not. Might not be the most accurate statement.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah, this is a good move by white. F5 right here.
Yeah.
Good move.
Oh yeah.
Because actually, I mean, trading rooks is actively bad for white. It improves black's pawn structure and makes a route towards the center for their king. Right?
Now
Starts to bring their king in.
You have connected past.
But after F5, in this kind of a position, it's not as easy for the black king to get into the game. See,
Right.
he's kind of like he's a little bit blocked out by these pieces.
And you have that knight that has to stay there for a while.
Yeah.
There's actually no way for the black king to ever get there in time for anything.
Well, the king can eventually walk here, and then the knight can move, and then the king can take over for the knight, if he wants to. Or just go through that square.
I'm really, well, I guess at this rating, finding a rook takes knight was maybe not the easiest move.
No, this is the under 1250 section. That's definitely advanced / fancy, but
Yeah.
oh gosh, on this move I could have played f4 when the rook wasn't defended. And then here they played it once the rook was defended. So this is a very, very important moment for white to review in this game here, right? It's like, what are all the tactics around these pieces facing off with this pawn coming down the board, right? When is rook e5 good? When is f4 good?
I feel like they're playing every move and move late.
Mm-hmm.
Remchop, thank you so much for the subscription. Appreciate it.
Oh, and look at this. Rook on e5, king f2. White could actually take this, black could take this with check and then come back to blocking the file. I think white and black are both assuming that if rook takes pawn, you can't let the white rook come to the file, so the rooks are just continuing to face off, even though they're using fancy tactics and they're each like leaving the tension and trying to get the other person to trade first. But this is actually check and the rook could come back, and both players are not acknowledging that so far, right?
No, you don't have it anymore.
Sure you do. Still check.
Yeah, but now you can head over to. Oh.
Even worse! He just left the rook. Oh, the tension on that file between the rooks was killer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, this game's over.
Bit of a tragedy. All right, so that's going to allow.
Sorry.
We'll go on in a second, but let's just say that's going to allow long dark diagonals to tie for first place.
There you go.
In the under 1250 section.
Nice.
And I'm not very familiar with this username, so I think it might be their first, tournament win
Yeah.
in the dojo.
Charlie, don't worry. By the way you've been playing, you'll get there soon enough. I had to.
Oh, I had to. Okay.
I had to.
Let's check out Seth.
All right. Seth.
Got anything mean to say about Seth, or is that only for Charlie?
Nah, just for Charlie.
Only for
I love Charlie. Blackus.
I think
problems.
I think Daster did actually at some point in the last couple months make it halfway back to 1,000. Because I think if Daster is like 1595,
yeah,
and Daster got down to 13.
He's at 1350ish right now.
Yeah. He was pretty much halfway there.
He's sad about it. He was playing some games yesterday. He had some good opportunities. At 3 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep, I was he was watching his stream. He had some really cool opportunities that he really messed up.
So it looks like Seth has a bishop against 2 pawns here. If I've been sort of counting this correctly. Which is an advantage for black, and an advantage which should be pursued A in the opening, B in the middle game, C in the end game.
True. No.
Wait, Daster, you'd give me a free feature on your stream, or do I have to pay for that?
I got it. You got a new dojo rival, Charlie. Charlie, you can't show up on other shows. We have our own show.
Yeah.
What?
He's talking to you, Scotty.
I'm not your dojo rival. You're better than me, Charlie.
Hey, Michiko.
Hi!
Here's who we've got for you, Michiko. Hello. Hello. I want to sniff your pets.
I'm gonna go put pizza in the oven for them.
Okay, that's very warm.
I already preheated the oven.
You're welcome, Daster. Oh, here she goes. She wants to play with the kids. The kids are back. Hang on. Here you go, Puppers. You can go play with the kids. Go, 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 go. All right. Better be enough pizza for the whole stream. We'll be lucky if it's enough for the kids. It's leftover pizza from yesterday's pizza. Remshocked, we're in the last round, so right now you can't late join this particular tournament. In general, late join is available up till the last round. The tournament is run weekly on Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. And hopefully you or others can make it next week. Soon you'll do a sub battle against us where all your subs are also dojo members. Gotcha, Daster. So in European Amsterdam time, 10 a.m. Pacific, I don't know, you're probably like 9 hours after us, Remshocked. Try Google. It'll tell you, like, ask current time Pacific, and then you can calculate it back. It starts 2 hours and 20 minutes earlier than this every Sunday. So it started 2 hours and 20 minutes ago, whatever time it is for you now. I'm guessing you're 9 hours after us, and it's like 7 p.m. for you. And that now it's like 9:20 p.m. for you. This is looking very exciting here between Seth and Sad Cat. So let's actually like look at this game and think about it. So one option here for Seth is 93. I like this option. Hitting all this. Pawn takes, check. Knight takes, check. And then taking this. That's what I like. Check. Here. 93 is what Seth chose. Come on, Seth! Good play. Good play, mate. Sayantan Mukherjee, thank you for joining our tournaments for the first time. We're excited to have such an awesome person in the dojo. Hope you'll be back for further tournaments or streams in the future. Yeah, Sad Cat in trouble here. Seth probably winning at the moment with this shot. Sad Cat's going to be looking at some fancy moves like Knight G5, Knight D4, Rook H6. You have to look at everything. When something like this comes in and you're like a moment away from losing, you really have to just look at every possible move. Alright. Black just takes it. White just takes it after thought. Doesn't come up with anything tricky that works. And Seth takes it. Obviously, some of you are wondering about this Knight G5 move, right? The thing about Knight G5 is that you can just take, and this is defended, and that queen wasn't. So Black wins a whole knight this way, basically, which means now Black's up a knight and a bishop, which is even worse. So queen check, king here, rook comes in. This king is nearly dead, right? Nearly dead. Rook F2 threatened, among other things. Yeah, that king's in trouble. Looks like Seth's gonna get the last round upset and create a huge tie for first place in this 1250 to 1650 section. I think that would be a three-way tie at least. Bishop E5 is a good threat as well. Coco, that's right. How can White stop Rook F2? I don't know.
Sorry.
Nothing good.
Wife and kids.
Yeah.
Wives
and kids showing up.
Yep. I just helping them with stuff. Alright.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring my baby in. Baby wants to be on stream.
You want to bring in the baby?
Yeah.
All right, Rook F2, Rook D2 is one move that covers Rook F2. The danger is that now Black can get to the back rank in a lot of cases, right? So like this Bishop E5 move here, Black now has check.
Your son wants to hold the baby.
Oh really? My son's holding the baby?
Your son's holding the baby right now. He wanted to hold him.
He was completely uninterested in the baby the first few hours yesterday.
Yeah.
Whereas my daughter at that age, like, she begged us for like a baby brother, and then she always wanted to like see babies. He had like no interest, and then finally he held the baby. It was hilarious. I got like a couple pictures of it.
That's cute.
Like,
that's cute.
let's see.
A new toy, I guess. All right, what are we going here? What are we doing in this
it.
position?
Hang on. Look, he finally got the baby.
Aww.
Right, and then look at that.
Ah,
He liked it. Decided he liked it, then petted his cheek.
I don't know if my kid's into it, but your kid is.
Everything's new for your kid. Your kid's like, what's going on?
Like,
what's going on?
Why are you touching me? No, just kidding. All right, so cool. Here.
All right. Oh, here it comes.
Hey, Scott. I feel like it's Scott.
What?
Scott wanted to be.
Okay.
Is gonna go.
Oh, no, you're good. We're just gonna say hi.
I know, but I
Say
figure
hi, everyone.
so does it make sense for David to present your baby?
You can present my baby.
Or you
Right.
need this otherwise.
Hi!
So this is gonna mess with our audio.
Go out.
White noise everybody.
Hi! You wanna say hi too, Sebi?
You're so silly. Here, take
You wanna say hi? Come here. Sebi, ven acá.
We're busy.
Okay. Oh, you need to get changed, buddy. Your diaper's full.
Alright. I don't know why she gave us this white noise, but we can't.
Okay, I'm sorry you can't get out.
What's up?
You started to cry. Blame yourselves.
It's okay. Now I'll deliver him back.
Okay.
Yeah, if he cries he'll be less cute and we'll pass him back to the
Ready?
moms.
Peekaboo. Peekaboo.
Oh, and Seth is up a rook now. He played bishop e5 in the actual game.
All right. Cool.
Brutal. If the king came this way, he had rook g3, also with checkmate on g1.
Oof.
So white just gave the rook. Now sets up a full rook. And still forced checkmate, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's still queen here, rook here, queen here.
This is
Very
This is
nice.
checkmate.
Crushing.
yeah. This is checkmate. There it is.
Bravo, Seth.
Oh.
Seth had a good tournament today, huh?
Good job, Seth. Yeah, Seth. You've been playing some killer games. There was that one game. That
Man, he is so close to 1500. I've seen him at 1495 recently. Has he hit 1500 at any point here in these last days? No, 1495 was the highest.
so
That tournament.
close.
He's really close to it.
So close, Seth.
Trying to be less bad, yeah.
There you go.
That's the way.
So apparently him, Nordovik, and Baron have gotten together and played
Yeah.
together.
They're all in
I'm
Denver.
jealous. I don't have anyone around here.
It's like a nice little Denver cell.
You're an hour and a half away.
Yeah,
2 hours.
yeah.
And even then, you're not gonna have fun playing chess with me. So.
Coast is half an hour closer, but same problem.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
You want to wear my headphones? All right.
Nordivik's peak is also exactly 1495.
We can do this.
Now we have to change it from chess to dads do dumb things as the category.
Hi. He wanted to wear it, everyone. He was reaching for it. Look that way, buddy. That way. Now you can be more like Dad.
Wow, so all the games still going are the 1650 plus section. So I can't see the name of the third or fourth person who tied for first place with Sad Cat and Seth. But there were a couple.
Yeah, there were a few.
There were one or two others, so. Baron doesn't live in Denver, an hour out. Okay, so here's top board in the 1650 plus section, which is still going. Renek's got a whole extra bishop.
Oh,
Just a matter of time before he
good for you, Renee.
cleans up movement control here. F4 and H4 suggest themselves. Any move to crack through.
Any move. Any move. And look how safe that king is.
Nordovik played the Catalan. It's a good opening. Where's Nordovik's game here? Okay. Movement troll throws in the towel, and we get another comeback in the final round.
Renee.
Catches up and passes movement troll for first place in the tournament, actually.
Good for you, Renee.
So starting off 3-0 doesn't mean you've got the tournament in the bag.
No.
Where's Nordovik? I'm so bad at seeing with my eyes. There he is.
Yeah.
His first Catalan opening, but his opponent played the Catalan. Not him. Well, he played the opening pretty decently. Threatening F5 again is annoying. Oh, this position's just great for Nordovik.
Yeah.
I think I saw that he eventually lost the game, but position does
No, he won.
He won?
Didn't he not?
Okay,
Or did
we'll
he
see.
lose one?
We'll see. Oh, now he's up a pawn. Yeah, you're probably right. He probably won this
I
game.
think he was
eventually.
up a queen.
Okay. He beat the professor. That makes sense. Once he got to the E file, he was on top.
How come?
Yeah.
How come he gave up his?
Well,
Was that just a blunder? The queen drop?
I don't know. Here, this 94 move, actually, white has queen E3, and it's not that easy for black.
Oh.
So you might actually, in this position, Norvik, just prefer leaving a knight on the board, playing rook e8, maybe play h6 if you ever need the e4 square, but just start putting the pieces here and look to, I don't know. You got two choices. You could try to go after their king, or you could try to use your extra pawn on this side of the board. b5 is pretty strong too. That's a plan. Then they still have to worry about defending their A pawn forever, so it makes it hard for them to come counter everything. If they play A4, you can push past with the pass pawn. Yeah, I think it's probably worth it to spend a move on B5. I know we were looking over here, but yeah, after the knight trade, getting this square here was nice. It gives black a lot of room to bother white.
Oh.
On the file.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like white should have just done a better job at defending that E pawn.
Right, the queen came over here to challenge this one, but it just goes to an even better square.
The king could have moved up.
So what should white be doing for defense here? King f2?
Maybe.
Kind of gnarly. But yeah, maybe so.
I mean, like, king f2, rook e2, like, your pieces all start getting tied down.
Yeah.
That's never a way you want to play, but sometimes it's necessary.
So remaining games, this... What's that move?
Hold on. Go back. I missed it.
Look at that.
Oh.
He's going for me. So either obvious recapture allows checkmate, right? Pawn takes, checkmate. Rook takes, back rank mate. But
Wow.
Solarsi's got to move to keep the game going, right? Queen sack on b1 and then collect the second rook.
Now it's anyone's game.
Right.
What?
Interesting.
Back rank.
Collecting that pawn because of the back rank. He's got one move here to try and like enforce something, right? Well, actually, I mean, I guess long term, bishop and queen against two rooks would favor the bishop and queen, so it might be enough to just win a pawn. But I was thinking, you know, what about queen b2? What about queen b7? Like some more aggressive moves here. Anyway, he went for this. Rook's double. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. King's gonna have to go here. If rook here, he'll have queen here. He defends it. He's trying to hold on with the king. Ada's got 30 seconds.
I go for it. Right? Or are you just going to be down a piece?
White will still be up a bishop if white does it. Yeah,
you're just going to be down a piece.
defense
I'm talking
holds
as black. You're going to be down a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for it. Never mind. You can't be down a piece.
So now black's idea is to play knight d3. And if queen takes, back rank mate. That's right. Back rank checkmate. The first time you ever heard about that, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and if white doesn't take, he still has this. Knight c6 plate. Oh, black. It's black's shot to throw one really killer puzzle at Ada. While Ada's a bit low.
But it doesn't fully have it because it can be met by bishop c3.
Exactly. It doesn't work in the sense that there's a defense.
But you should still try it.
Probably.
Still try it.
I don't know what else you would try here. Your opponent's low on time. It's a very, very tricky move. You're welcome, Geektarist. Yeah. Good night to you. You can check the VOD later, especially that game that we looked at of yours from the, I think, second round, was it? The Queen H5 opening. And thank you for bringing the weirdo to us. Your senior. Do you think baby's heard you screaming about back rank mates before? In the house? No? Hasn't come up?
No, I just heard something else from him.
Okay.
Ooh, buddy.
Wow. Some rumbly.
No, that's more than rumbly. I felt it. We're wearing the same shirt, everyone, but a different color.
You've also got blue.
XP. Team Panda.
Panda.
I too have Team Panda. So when
Great team.
when our sorry, what's, oh, now I'm confused. When so I got shirts for my son, like when they were born essentially. So my older one, he had like a potato shirt because that's what we called him.
Yeah.
And then this one is Panda.
Panda.
Like that's, you know how people are like, oh, little monkey or little like pea
Right,
or
little
whatever.
pea, yeah.
Yeah, we're strange.
Small
we call
fry.
Them, potato and Panda.
Black bean.
Yeah, there you go. And I got shirts for as a
Yes, Ofa. 92 is a bit weird, yeah. It's fighting for control D4. He's trying to cause problems with this pawn. 8 is down to 7 seconds. This is nerve-wracking stuff. So knight goes here, he can just take it off. Is he threatening knight takes, bishop takes, rook d8? No, that would like basically lose. So he's not even threatening to take it.
I think he's just trying to cause enough problems to run him out of time at this point.
Yeah, I was thinking that black should move the h pawn here. Just get rid of some back ranks in some situations, see what white comes up with. Okay, so white's looking for knight g5. Try and save this. Knight c3, good move. Oh, 6, 5. I don't know what to do. White moves your g-pawn, maybe 3, 2, 1. Ah!
No.
Ah!
GG.
We gotta say, as far as like practical play, Silarsi made this
Very
like kept the
complicated.
right amount of like tension, not just like silly one move threats that make it easy for you to like
Yeah.
escape or answer, but like keep it kind of weird and
Yeah.
tense. You're not sure what to do, and then something else.
Definitely. How long did he have that time advantage for?
Knight g5, there's mate in 1. That was part of it. Like white was trying to play knight g5, and that's why he moved the knight off now.
Yeah.
I think he has to like do something like this just to get rid of the back rank mates. You know, just
Yeah.
move the g pawn
Just
somewhere.
yeah. I think that's a huge problem for
Yeah.
white was the always the
It's like, for example, you might want to do this too, right? This is another thing you might want to do here. Except for that. Otherwise, I mean, black's done, right? The rook's skewered to all these mates.
right.
But it's the back rank. So, again, I mean, at the very beginning, I said he should just tuck his king on h2. He chose to try and defend the back rank mates with the king itself, right? Remember this moment? Here.
Right.
When black first threatens rook e1, and I was saying, you know, okay, we're probably looking at king h2, rook here, put the queen on b2. And instead, white chose to like try and do it with the king, and you said, well, this doesn't work yet, right? White's got it covered. Yeah, but it's like
Just
now
constantly.
you constantly have to
target.
defend that. Your king is like doing his own defense. Your queen's tied up to it,
And
right?
with no dark square bishop
that-
or
that
queen
just
for
left
that
this-
diagonal.
That just left this tension forever.
And like the number of moves that the knight would have to do to attack that king on h2, it's
Always leaves the king. So like still here,
Yeah.
it's like you need g3 or g4, something
a
that
lot.
gets rid
lot.
of this back rank mate. Also, at some point, move the bishop off of a1, so the bishop won't be lost at the end of these things too.
Charlie, I bet you that's exactly what David did.
What's that?
Whoosh. Hello.
Oh yeah, I definitely played chess. I had chess parties,
Yeah, I bet.
like with my friends when I was a kid, instead of like
Yeah.
whatever movie watching
None
parties.
of my friends ever liked chess. I was
Yeah.
the only one, and eventually it goes away. We don't have the influence around you, you know.
Right. But yeah, we'd have parties. We just played like chess, bug house
Bughouse sounds
the whole
fun.
time. You know, take a break to eat some pizza and then more chess.
Gee, did you get the pizza out of the oven?
Yeah, pizza's out.
Cool.
All right.
Does Sebi want to come say hi?
We're waiting for the corn.
Sebi, come say hi.
Hey, do you want to go say hi to Poppy?
That was the last game. So
Cool.
Let's leave this out here for right now.
Oh, that's great, Michiko.
Let's say hi to Poppy.
Whoa! That's a very.
Entrance.
There's an entrance. Boom!
Hi, come here, buddy. 1, 2, 3. Ooh.
And you guys are playing chess.
We are. Oh God. Get up, buddy.
What's that thing that keeps on changing colors?
That's in my.
Seasonal dating, yeah.
That's my computer.
What? Your computer does something so pretty?
My computer does. I can actually change all those colors.
What? Green and purple. Wait, I thought
Green and purple, yeah.
I thought your
Whoa,
computer.
and orange and yellow.
I thought your computer was for working on, not playing on.
I know my computer's
It's
too expensive.
really
to work
optimized
on.
for play.
My computer's too expensive to work
Why?
on. It's only for play.
Do you know where the bag for the
Dad,
case
here.
for the sleeping bag is?
Sleeping bag?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean the sleeping bag?
The sleeping bag that she slept on last night.
I don't know. It's right there. Is that it?
This is for the air mattress.
Oh, their sleeping bag. No, I don't.
It was on the floor in what did I do?
On the
It
floor.
was on the
in
floor in Sophie's room.
Okay.
What's this?
Better look. That is to make a play yard for Nico, but the mat is in the wash, so it's not.
All right,
working.
folks, that is
Can we still
Debbie,
use
come
it?
say bye.
it for the tournament.
Can I still use
Congratulations to everybody who played.
it? Can I still use it?
You can play with it.
Bye.
Can you grab onto my head and I'll lift you up?
Congratulations to the winners.
Bye.
Who are the winners?
In this section, we've got Renek, 13 in first place.
Bye. See you later.
See you later.
And tied for second, Solarcy, who we just saw saving this game, and Moomin Troll.
Yeah. Good job, everyone. Those
Yeah.
some really cool games.
So, good job, everybody. We'll see you again over the next couple days.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, there's going to be something very, very exciting tomorrow. The Pro Chess League Arena for the California Unicorns team, which I'm the manager of it. It's a professional chess team. It's going up against St. Louis with, Caruana and Wesley So and
Okay.
Lanier Dominguez and Jeffrey Xiong and so on. We'll be a little bit outrated, but we've stacked the team with blitz specialists.
There
and
you
it's
go.
a blitz event, so maybe we've got a chance, folks.
Yeah, because Wesley So's not good at blitz.
So I'll see you guys then. We've got Dojo Scrubs on later today. Nordvik, you want to confirm that it's at the normal 3 p.m. time, Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific? 2 hours from now, is that when people can find the scrubbin'?
Yeah.
Probably right.
And then,
Yeah.
Yeah, today, 3 p.m. That's the plan. I'm looking at the calendar.
Okay, cool.
And then, what else? On Tuesday? Yeah. On
Tuesday isn't planned yet, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, you got
I
something.
have something. I'm gonna do.
Oh, you're gonna do the review of the color
I'm gonna
complex puzzles?
redo the course with chess stock.
With
We're gonna
chess
redo
stock.
it on stream. We probably might get through it in one day or not.
Yeah.
Baron. Oh, you want to do tomorrow night? Yeah, we can do tomorrow night probably. Talk to the wife about that.
That's right, Michiko. We've got Min on the team. We've got Danya on the team.
Oh, you got some good people.
We've got Bortnik. We've got Georg Meyer. We've got a bunch of sick blitz specialists. We've got Joe Baba.
Oh,
We've added Joe Baba to our
got Joe
team.
Baba on there? Are you playing?
I'm not playing. This is way beyond my league. Way beyond my league. I'm just managing. So it's going to be a blitz event for 2 hours, and yeah, our team's pretty sick. But the other teams in our division are so sick. They're all 2,600 GMs.
Right.
Our team's actually lower rated,
You
but
have
probably
Danya.
has decent chances in blitz. Yeah, we've got Danya.
You have Danya.
Yeah, we have to hope that Joe Baba doesn't lose early on and tilt for the whole event, because he's insanely good, and he'll win 7 games in a row, and you're like, oh, he's just gonna go through everybody. Then he wins one, then he loses one game, or even wins a game but doesn't feel like he played it well enough, and
Xanth.
tilts over that.
Xanth, thank you for the 400 bits, by the way.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So we have to hope that it goes smoothly for him. For as long as possible.
Tell him Joe Bob will not lose.
I think it's only a matter of time before he before he tilts, so we just have to hope that it's later on in the event he's already racked up enough points by then. So
he was in
let's go.
in the gauntlet, right?
Yeah, Bach is gonna be on the St. Louis team. The St. Louis team is disturbing, but
Bach is on there. Oh.
it's our dream to beat St. Louis one day, you guys. So anyway, so that's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm gonna do a team stream during that where we focus on just the games of California. Chess.com's gonna have a stream.
Are you doing it on the Dojo channel?
On the Dojo, yeah.
Okay.
So Chess.com will have like an official stream.
What time? What time is that again?
10 a.m. Pacific to noon, or maybe 1. There's like a ladder match afterwards. We'll probably go to 1 or something like that. So anyway, it'll last however long it lasts. And Nordvik, yeah, the Janish is not dubious. The Janish or the Schliemann is a playable defense for black. You can play it pretty much at any level. Who's somebody really good who's played in tournaments? Liviu Dieter Nisipianu. You can check him out, Nisipianu, yeah. So, okay. Now, how do we raid from here? How do you see who's live in order to raid?
Oh, you don't do it directly from here, but just I go up there.
Yeah.
Just type in Twitch.
Okay, so you do have to go look at Twitch like I do.
Yeah.
And see what's going on. Or we could just ask Michiko who to raid today.
And just go down to chess.
Just go down to chess.
Bottom left. Yeah.
Whoa, it's like the top category
right
for all
there.
of Twitch.
And then whoever you want.
There's the end of this Arena Royale, but there's probably only like 15 minutes left. There's a victory after party for the Chess Bros. They must have just won today.
Your friend
Gadakamsky is
serious,
streaming?
but
Is Gadakamsky streaming?
Who's that? Who?
Oh, he is. Yeah. Okay, we'll do Gada.
Alright, so click on the name. Oh, I guess you could just do it. Yeah. You're typing. I usually just copy and paste.
Okay.
You want to take baby?
Oh wow, he's so awake.
But I know.
All right.
He was he pooped.
See you guys.
Is that why you gave it to me?
See you guys soon. Cheers, everybody.
See you all. Take care.
Okay, and then we have to also click.